We all want to win when we start a new software project, and there's a little bit of accounting we should do at the beginning of every project to maximize our chance of success. Now, accounting is not a whole lot of fun, but losing is even less fun. Let's get into it. Hello, I am Shane Brinkman Davis Delamore, and this is Code and Optimism, a show where we explore how to solve problems faster with software. Today, we're going to talk about what it actually means to successfully solve problems. We're going to call this the software project win conditions. So really what we're talking about is how do we account for success? What are the necessary elements that would define whether or not a project has actually been successful? We're going to break this into three main concepts: customer value, ROI, return on investment, and opportunity cost. So let's start at the top with customer value. So we need to create net positive customer value for this to even matter to our customers, to have our customers even bother using what we've built. For whatever we're building for them, we're going to create some amount of value, but we have to keep in mind that what we're offering them is also going to have cost. In a very obvious sense, we do hope to recuperate some money from this. So either they have to purchase the software, or we're going to show them some ads, which requires them to spend some extra attention with us, or any number of other things. There are many user costs. In addition, there is the mental effort, the physical effort, and perhaps stress or other side effects. There's all these negatives. No matter how well we build our piece of software, our piece of hardware, our product, it has negative costs. But we hope to, at the same time, to be able to provide much value. So we hope to either help our customer earn more money, reduce the money that they're spending, reduce their stress, reduce some mental effort, reduce some physical effort, create some pleasure or joy, create some entertainment. These are all the valuable goals that we can help our customer achieve. In order for this product to be successful at all, we have to baseline create more value than we do on cost. And another important cost to keep in mind is switching cost. They might be already using some other piece of software or some other tool to accomplish this task. And if we're saying switch from that tool to our tool, they have to relearn. So there's a learning cost as well. So first measure of success is net positive user value for our users. If we're not achieving net positive user value, then there's no point of even getting started. Next, ROI, return on investment. This usually is what we use as the metric of success, but this is just perhaps the simple grounding metric, but it fits within the rest of these. And sometimes we overlook aspects of the ROI. So let's just dive into the ROI analysis really quick. The ROI also needs to be net positive. And that means that the total amount of money that we make from our project must exceed the total amount of money we spend on the project. Otherwise, we have negative ROI. Now, of course, it's possible that your project's ROI is not measured in dollars. If there's something that's charitable or otherwise like that, you might have some other metric that you expect, but you need to understand that from the beginning. For a certain amount of investment, you expect a certain amount of return, whatever that return looks like. But I'm going to assume that the return is dollars from here on out. So there's many standard ways of making money. There's also many indirect ways of making money, but people can spend money on it with one-time purchases. You can have subscriptions, you can have in-app purchases, you can have advertising, you make money on data. Lots of ways to make money. And there's lots of ways to spend money building it. The money is usually dominated by the production and operation costs. And the production cost is often dominated by dev time. But there's also management, design, and quality, and other things. There's also the tools and facilities during production, which might be actual physical machines, it might be offices, it might be desks, it might be subscription services to things that enhance development and product and so forth. Those are all these production costs. Once you get the product launched, quite often these days, there's also production costs. There's cloud hosting and recurring. There's ops personnel to keep things running. There's continued production, because once you've launched it, you're still going to have to keep working on it. Sometimes there may be a certain number of revisions and then you're kind of done, but often you're going to be continuously improving it. Those are all costs. And there's customer support. And of course, there's a myriad of other operational costs that basically scale with the customer base. You get more customers, you're going to need to do more operational costs. And last but not least, there are business costs, and just calling out the most significant one for some projects might be marketing. You might have a significant marketing budget to promote your project, and that also might be part of your costs. All these together are the total spend. So to have net positive ROI, you need to have collecting more dollars as you are running this over the lifetime of this product than you spent building it and then operating it. Last concept is opportunity cost. This one is perhaps the lesser known of the three. And it's a relatively simple concept, but hard to apply. The concept's pretty simple in that when you're deciding whether or not to do this project, we're going to start with customer value. Can we create net positive customer value? Okay, fine. Can we create net customer value, collect enough money from those customers to exceed our production costs and our operation costs? Can we get net ROI? All right, that's good. We got those two check marks. But the third check mark you then need to do is say, we need to minimize our opportunity costs, which is to say, what if we did a different project? This project is going to create such amount of net ROI, but are there other projects we could do which might potentially create more ROI? So the opportunity cost is you are foregoing doing those other projects because you're going to do the project you chose. So project B, you're going to skip on because you're going to do project A. So project B is your opportunity cost. And you want to minimize your opportunity cost, which really means you want to maximize the gap between the ROI of the project you chose over any other project that you might have chosen. Or most simply, the best opportunities ROI should be greater than the next best opportunities ROI. So you should explore all the projects you could do, rank them given the first two metrics of customer value and then ROI. Who is going to give you what the ROI of all these projects are, rank them, and then choose the one that has the best ROI. So that's the high level of accounting for project success. At the end of the day, it's not super hard, but often projects kind of skip over these parts and kind of ignore them and just dive in because we get excited about the tech, we get excited about delivering user value to the customer. Often we fail at any of these three tasks. We often fail at customer value. We're like, oh, we're going to deliver this great value to the customer. Look at all those cool things we can make this piece of software do. It's going to be so great for them. But we fail to realize that it only makes their job, and at the end of the day, net 2% easier, but it's going to take them 10% effort to retrain and learn your new tool compared to the tool they're currently using. They're never going to switch. They're going to keep using their current tool because the 2% is not worth the 10% investment. Or any number of other scenarios. We have to understand all the costs the user is going to incur and all the value we're going to deliver. And hopefully we give them 10 times as much value compared to the cost, and they are excited. They're incredibly excited to jump on the bandwagon. But you got to look at the costs as well as the benefits. And often we ignore the costs the user incurs and we just focus on the benefits. Next, ROI. Also, it's very easy, particularly for non-finance people, to be very excited about, oh, look at all this money we can make off of this. We can charge $10 a user and we can sell it to corporations and we can then have them, average corporation could have hundreds of users and we could have hundreds of corporations and look at all the zeros. Easy to say. But if it costs you millions of dollars to develop the product in the first place, one, we've discussed in previous episodes about the risks around that because you're not generating knowledge because you're not releasing it. But even still, if you've got that millions of dollars of overhead, then you have you've dug a really deep hole that you've got to make back on all this future anticipated revenue. And last, the opportunity cost is the tricky one, which is to remember you got multiple projects you could do. You need to seriously consider the second and third project on the list. Often we'll get excited about the first project, we'll dive in, and we'll just sort of start ignoring the other two. We need to consider those two to see if they really are inferior to this project. And often it's a little apples and oranges to compare. Ultimately, it is net ROI, so you can measure that. But sometimes like one project has the potential to be way bigger, but you don't know for sure, versus the other one is smaller potential, but less risk. So we didn't talk a lot about risk management, all these things, but that is the trick with these things, is that you have to factor in a risk factor on each of these ROIs because they're all speculation. So that's what I want to talk about today. It's important for any project to at least go through these three things and do a basic analysis of each of them at the beginning of the project. The customer value and ROI probably need to be updated periodically throughout the project. Once you've dived in, you do need to occasionally check on your opportunity cost, and at that point it aligns with the sunk cost fallacy. You may get halfway through a project, realize a new opportunity, and realize that actually the chances of the current project succeeding and getting ROI, ignoring the current sunk cost, that's the tricky thing, but you have to ignore all the cost you've already spent, you compare it to this other opportunity. So it can be tricky, but it is so worthwhile. So once again, thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. And remember, all problems are solvable with enough knowledge.